Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Today I want to talk about a comment that was left by Deb J, who of course we all absolutely love and adore here at Kim Wilson TV. This channel and this support group would just not be the same without Deb here. And Deb made a really interesting comment one day. She said, what were people's dreams before they had met the narcissist or before, the abuse had really begun? And what were their dreams for themselves, their future? Something on a personal level, something you wanted to achieve for yourself. And today I want to talk about that. That was a really tremendously thought-provoking comment for me, and I have sat in contemplation about Deb's statement many times. Now, when I finally got free, of course, I was facing the huge challenge of reestablishing a home in what had been an abandoned house for a long time. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of work to do here. So that kept me busy, and it kept me kind of focused. Now that my home is coming together and I'm feeling more settled in my home, I found myself feeling very pressured, thinking, oh my God, now I got to move forward. Now I got to do something. Now I need to take action. I've just lost 5 years of my life, and God help you if it's been 10 or 20 years. Believe me, my heart is breaking for you. 5 years was very, very hard on me, and a lot of people have suffered gravely for many years longer than that. But I was applying this pressure to myself, like, okay, Kim, now you got to get going. We got to make up for that lost time. We've got to move forward. And that in itself, I found, was almost incapacitating me because I didn't know what to do. My mind was scrambled. I was still trying to regain my physical health. And I was really applying a lot of unnecessary pressure to myself. Now, in a state of absolute heartbreak, emotional turmoil, physical illness, and, applying pressure to yourself, like all of this was leaving me feeling like, holy fuck, I just don't know which way to turn. I don't know which way to go, because I had kind of locked on to this idea that I need to move forward. But that day when Deb made that comment, it presented a whole different opportunity for me. And believe me, I seized that opportunity, because it kind of implied to me, if you don't know how to move forward, why not just go back? Why not go back to a place where your life was calm and you had a good connection to yourself and you had a dream and you had a plan and something that was important to you? And when you can't move forward, hey, what the hell is wrong with going back? Because, that's really what I've done. I really thought about that and thought, there's no shame, there's no harm, and there's no, damage in going back to a place that was better and happier and more promising. I had a really happy life prior to meeting Trevor, and what I was doing was just living my life as an artist. Now, I am an artist, I am a designer, and I'm absolutely self-confessed dirty dumpster diver. Absolutely I am. And some of my best treasures have come out of the dumpster. And how embarrassing for my children. Mom, if you don't get out of that dumpster right now, we're leaving you here. Okay, so I was actively creating objects of art, jewelry, birdhouses, things, human figurative sculpture, dolls, and I was actively selling them on my online store, and I was very happy. And though that can sound a bit detached from humanity, it's not at all, because there's a tremendous amount of communication in that type of selling venue, and you get to create a bit of a gallery for your work that you can take pride in, and I really love that. The problem, of course, for Trevor was the creation of the art objects took time, and I was focused on those particular objects that I was making at the time, which, of course, took away the desperate attention that he needed from me. So he didn't like that. The online store in itself takes a lot of work. You've got to photograph, you've got to edit, you've got to write descriptions, you've got to do all this stuff, and this, of course, takes time. And in his desperate need for attention, this wasn't working for him. So, of course, I gave all that up. Now, one of the reasons the online store was very important to me is, well, first of all, it gave me an opportunity to create and sell my own handmade items, and I really love that. And of course, I love to be home. I love being in my house, and I also love gardening. So, spring, summer, fall, these are very important times, and gardens need a lot of tending. So having an online store lets me do that. I mean, it just created an absolute dream world for me. And that wasn't something I saw in my future. Like when I was sitting thinking, move forward, Kim, do something, I was thinking something new, something, different. And it wasn't coming together for me. It really wasn't coming together for me. It was Deb's comment that really made me go, wait a minute, where was I? That reminded me, holy shit, I had a plan for my life that I thought was ideally suited for me, and I was going to find happiness in that. And that is, what I'm now using to kind of build the foundation of what I want to see my future look like. My future is in my past. Now, of course, my mind's blank, and I don't know where to begin, so I go down to my storage room, which is just piled to the ceiling, and I start going through boxes, and I start finding things that instantly reminded me of things I used to love to do. Now, one thing that I did was I made dolls, human figurative sculpture, and I'm a painter. I don't paint, wall-mounted canvases, but I do paint on a small scale. Now, this is one of my dolls that I had done, and that is a Frida Kahlo doll, post 1953, before the leg amputation. Not really something I want to do now, but I have a little grandchild, and I also do other types of soft doll sculpture, and ones I always really liked. And, these are things I thought, well, wouldn't that be fun to do a collection of dolls for my grandson? Another one, which has been the product of my dumpster diving, was my birdhouses. Now, this is a great example of my dumpster diving. Now, I made this with stuff I found in junk, just garbage, some kind of a light or a fuse or something. I don't know what that is. And this was a funnel with, a finial on it. And I used to love making birdhouses. And I always made birdhouses with kind of a big hole because it seemed to me so many of them were for wrens. So larger birds can go into my birdhouses. And I made loads of them. And I sold them, and people really loved them. And they're in gardens all over the place. And that made me really happy. The last really creative project I sort of had, prior to everything getting boxed away, which was early in the relationship with Trevor, was my jewelry that I designed. And yeah, I do pretty big and pretty bold, chunky pieces, but I'd had an idea in my head, and I'd forgotten about it, absolutely forgotten, to do a collection of jewelry from fallen tree branches. Now, this is a ring, one of the last pieces I did. It's a big pewter casing. This is a cherry tree branch that I carved. There's a piece of antler on top. It's on a pivot, and there's a crystal set in it, and this was going to be part of a collection. Well, I got 2 pieces done, and of course then everything got boxed, and he knocked all my stuff flying everywhere, and I just had lost all interest. But this is the second piece, and I'm not a good wood carver by any means, but I have a lot of fun with it, and I can do big and chunky pieces, and that's kind of my style anyways. So where I found my future was in the past. It was actually in those boxes. And when I started going through those boxes, I was going, oh, wait a minute. This was something I had started and was very passionate about and had to abandon. So, if you're feeling, like you don't know how to move forward, because was I stumped. I was stumped. Yeah, absolutely stumped. Nothing was coming to me. And I'd really be thinking about that as I was working on the house, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I wasn't feeling anything. And And when I thought, hell, let's take a look at the past. Where was I at? I was happy, and why not? And why not move forward with a bit of confidence? Like, I don't know that I probably don't really feel confident that I'd want to just, launch a new career or try something new. Like, yeah, no, I don't think that would work for me right now. But I do believe that if we all kind of look at the past and see, where you were happy last, and is there a way to pick that up again? Maybe there's a way to morph that into something new. I mean, who knows? But Deb, thanks so much for leaving that comment, guys. And I'd love to hear what your dreams were prior to the narcissist. I'd love to hear, if you think that there's anything that you can revitalize in that past, or any new life you can breathe into your past that, can be a new and innovative future for you now. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. Peace be with you guys today. I hope you guys are having a really great narc-free day. And I know when you first get free, like, it's such a hurdle, and you get over it, and there you are on the other side going, oh fuck, now what? Like, now what? I didn't know what was coming. So yeah, I'm going backwards. Peace be with you guys. Happy day.